Live, this is WIFR News This Morning.
Well, good morning and welcome into WIFR News This Morning. It's 6 o'clock. I'm Andy Gannon.
And I'm Maggie Polstein.
It's time to take a break and enjoy a cup of the WIFR Morning Blend.
Wow.
I was like, we got a new graphic.
We got Mr. Soothing Voice,
I know.
too. Good morning.
A garage catches fire on Rockford's southeast side with at least 15 people and pets rescued from the flames. From WIFR News, that's today's top story.
Live, this is WIFR News at noon.
Good afternoon and welcome to WIFR News at noon. I'm Jake Pearson.
From Fox 5, News Edge at 11 starts now.
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
Following last week's debate, President Biden sits down with ABC News for a one-on-one interview. The new concerns Democrats now have following tonight's interview. And later, Hurricane Beryl strands an Atlanta family in Jamaica. Now they're paying thousands of dollars to stay at a resort with no power. Details on their infuriating ordeal. But we begin tonight with President Biden's interview. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us for News Edge at 11. I'm Tom Haynes. This was the first time President Biden spoke in a TV interview since the debate.
Live from London, this is BBC News. Iran's presidential election has been won by the reformist candidate Masoud Pezeshkian. He beat his hardline rival in a runoff vote. The US President Joe Biden insists he's going nowhere in his first major television interview since his debate against Donald Trump.
What's Joe going to do? Is he going to stay in the race? Is he going to drop out? What's he going to do? Well, here's my answer. I am running and going to win again.
And Keir Starmer begins his first full day as the UK's Prime Minister. He will hold a meeting of his new cabinet later this morning. Hello, I'm Catherine Biarahanga. We start in Iran, where in the last few hours, the reformist candidate Masoud Pezeshkian has been elected the country's new president, beating his hardline conservative rival, Saeed Jalili.
Severe storms with intense winds swept through the Wabash Valley.
See, that's a live look at the cell as it moves through that area.
Count on us for the latest and most reliable coverage. WAWV, your local weather authority.
Right now on Fox 43 News at 10. Evacuation order. Lawmakers at the Pennsylvania State Capitol were evacuated from the building today due to a bomb threat. What we know about the investigation so far. Local collector. A York family-run business is bringing in collectors across the region.
You know, you get to see what everyone collects out there and the different array of things, you know, people have interest in.
How one man's hobby is providing customers with rare items in high demand. Major meeting. President Biden will meet with NATO members to celebrate the alliance's 75th anniversary.
We'll take steps to build a bridge to NATO membership for Ukraine.
How the president plans to regain confidence of its members on the international stage. And beat the heat. We're all looking for ways to escape the high temperatures and trying to save money while doing it. Our National Verify team looks into if some tricks you may be doing are actually cost efficient. Thank you for joining us for Fox 43 News at 10. I'm Sayara Williams. We're following breaking news out of Harrisburg this evening.
KHOU 11 News at 10 starts now.
Tonight, tracking Tropical Storm Beryl as it heads towards Texas. Pat Kaplan has the latest from the National Hurricane Center. Plus, Houston shoppers getting last-minute supplies ahead of the storm, what you should have at home just in case. And we are live in Galveston tonight, how the coastal city is preparing for Beryl. Good evening. It's great to have you with us this Saturday night. I'm Marcelino Benito. Tropical Storm Beryl is expected to strengthen before it makes landfall, and by this time tomorrow, we could be feeling tropical storm level winds in the Houston area.
Sponsored by Lake Charles Memorial Health System. covering the news for Southwest Louisiana. This is 7 News Nightcast.
Parts of South Texas are in a wait-and-see mode as Tropical Storm Beryl heads their way. Good evening, I'm Morgan Babineau.
Getting answers. This is CBS 13 News. Always streaming on CBS News Sacramento.
This is not something you want to see in your own town. Not after all the fires we've had. And you worry about the firefighters more than you worry about your plane.
The fast-moving Pay fire threatening the Placerville airport and prompting evacuation orders. Good evening, and thanks for joining us here at 10 o'clock. I'm Brady Halbleib. We've been keeping a close eye on this fire all afternoon. Here's a real-time map of the zones being evacuated at this hour. That zones in the red there are mandatory evacuations at this point.
Winner of 14 Regional Emmy Awards. ABC 10 Weekend Mornings starts now.
Again, glad the building's okay. Got a lot of bushfire out here, but everyone's okay.
This morning, people living in Placerville under evacuation orders as the Pay fire continues to pose a threat to the community. We have the status of the current firefight ahead.
That's why we're just taking as much precautions as we can ahead of time so that we're not caught in the storm trying to do it at the last minute.
Bracing for Beryl as it moves across the Gulf of Mexico this morning. The trail of destruction and the expected impact it's set to continue to have in the next 24 hours. And extreme temperatures crushing decades-old records. Yesterday, now officially the hottest day of the year across many parts of Northern California. Good morning and thanks for joining us on another hot day. I'm Monica Coleman. It's Sunday, July 7th.
And I'm Jordan Tolbert. And you're right, we did break all those records.
I felt it.
Yeah, it was.
Where the news comes first, this is KCRA 3 Morning News.
A wildfire is forcing evacuations in El Dorado County. The very latest information on the Pay fire as crews work on containment. Returning to see the damage, the reaction from some evacuees coming home after a fire burned in Butte County.
Initial approval for a potential ceasefire deal. I'm Amy Lou in Washington with what Hamas is now demanding and dropping.
Good morning. I'm Leticia Ordaz on this Sunday, July 7th. Today is another KCRA 3 weather alert day. We can expect it to be another triple-digit day in our region.
This is KCAL News Mornings.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Sunday, July 7th. Welcome to KCAL News at 5 on CBS, also streaming on CBS News Los Angeles. I'm Rachel Kim.
And I'm Sheba Turk. We want to start with a check of your next weather. Meteorologist Alex Biston in studio this morning with more heat ahead.
Live from the KFDM studios, you're watching KFDM 6 News, The Weekend Report.
Good evening, Southeast Texas. Thank you so much for being here for the Weekend Report at 10. I'm Patrina Adger in for Mellow Styles tonight. Well, we've been tracking Beryl all weekend long, and as it moves closer to the Texas coast, we've been having team coverage coming up in a few minutes, but Chief Meteorologist Greg Bostwick is here.
This is a KIII 3 News special presentation. Tracking Beryl, a 3 News special edition.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for allowing us into your home. I'm Rudy Trevino.
I'm Leslie Adamy. We are continuing our bonus coverage of Hurricane Beryl. As we have talked about throughout the course of today, this storm will miss us here in the coastal bend. It is forecast to make landfall in the middle Texas Gulf Coast overnight, but we will still see some of its impacts, especially in some coastal parts of the viewing area.
Yeah.
Tonight, Hurricane Beryl leaves a path of destruction.
My son was screaming, "Grandma," because he saw me crying and telling my husband, "Go check on your mom."
Freeways flooded and people rescued from the roofs of their cars.
Are you okay, sir? Whoa! Power knocked out to millions, with the cleanup just beginning.
KGO 11 News at 6 starts right now.
We have almost close to 2.7 million people without power in Texas. That number may grow for a while, and that's going to take a multiple day process to get power restored.
Right now, a 10 tropical depression barrel is beginning to move out of the piney woods, and as it does, we're getting a better idea of the destruction left behind. We have teams across the region examining the aftermath, and you'll hear from them coming up. Plaza in East Texas Airport is forced to shut down due to the tropical system. We check with officials on what its status is for flyers. And one organization is mobilizing to provide help to storm victims in East Texas and beyond. We look at what they will be offering. KTRE 9 News at 10 starts right now.
Caring, committed, proud of East Texas. You're watching KTRE 9 News.
Evening, East Texas, and thank you so much for staying up late with us tonight. I'm Nomi Sanchez. Well, we have a lot of news to get to this evening, but let's start with the first look at weather. Chief Meteorologist Brad Lozak has been tracking Beryl all day and joins us now from the First Alert Weather Center. Brad, I know Tropical Storm Beryl has downgraded to a tropical depression. What does this mean, and where does this put us now?
This is CBS News Chicago.
Now at 6, more than 100 people shot in Chicago over the holiday weekend, while extra officers were on duty here. Now, city leaders take a hard look at whether NASCAR Chicago Street Race weekend should be moved.
He was here every Sunday.
But not this week. And now the search is on for a Chicago pastor who mysteriously disappeared. And rescues in Texas as a hurricane makes landfall. How we'll feel Beryl's wrath hundreds of miles away. Great to have you with us. I'm Joe Donlin.
And I'm Erica Sargent. Chicago is in the national spotlight after this 4th of July weekend.
This is CBS News Chicago.
Right now at 10, a family search for their missing loved one after a day of boating on Lake Michigan takes a tragic turn.
Here comes Beryl. Moisture moves in starting late tomorrow, and some of it could be heavy. We'll talk about a flash flood threat and when all the rain finally moves out.
Then, the most violent day in Chicago in years. CBS News Chicago is always investigating, putting the holiday weekend shootings into perspective tonight.
And we've been working on something new and exciting here at CBS News Chicago.
Well, it certainly is beautiful, I can tell you that.
We'll show you around our street-side studio, a perfect spot for a wave and a selfie.
Breaking news topping the 10 tonight. An off-duty police officer was involved in a shooting in northwest suburban Elgin.
Taking action for you. Action News 5 at 6 starts now.
As we begin with a live look over the mighty Mississippi, looking out over some of the condos downtown.
Our morning show is fun, it's entertaining, but it's also informative, and that's important to us because we want to make sure that we're accurate, we want to make sure we're dependable, but we also want you to enjoy tuning in every morning and getting your day started with us.
WTWO Sunrise at 5:30.
It's almost summer, which means
it is the deadliest time for teenagers on the road.
Whether you're hitting the beach or on a sweet treat run, 10 on Your Side's Madison Pearman shares tips to keep teen drivers safe. Tuesday morning at 6.